All right, welcome back to Drew Pearson Live, our Cowboys Draft Special, the first ever Drew Pearson Live Cowboy Draft Special. There's Larry Sanders, there's Matt Thornton, Brady Tinker, and Doc from the A&E Show. This is my panel of guests, and we're breaking down that Cowboy draft. And let's talk about the rest of the draft from, third round?
Through three
seventh round picks.
Yeah.
They looked like they were stockpiling players when they got to that point. But let's talk about Green, offensive tackle they got in the third round.
Good.
Doc?
Chaz Green, offensive tackle out of Florida. 6'5", about 315, something like that. Doesn't have long arms. We kind of thought this one was a little bit of a reach at this pick in the third round. I think that kid, you probably could have got him in the fourth
or fifth.
He does add some depth. I've seen some film on him, like his footwork. That's the one thing I do like. I do like his footwork.
Right.
And I can actually see them moving him possibly inside, from tackle, moving him inside. But it does give him some more depth. I mean, with Parnell going to Florida, going to Miami, signing with Miami in the offseason, it does give them some more depth at that position.
Right.
If your team is
Brady,
if your team is all about your offensive line, then you better make sure you have a little depth on it.
There. They lost Parnell.
Those big guys get hit around the knees and the ankles all the time.
Right.
I think, Drew, honestly, they got caught off guard on this pick. I don't think this was their pick.
All right.
I think at 91 they wanted the defensive tackle from Iowa, Carl Davis. And I think they were giddy. Look, it's all going our way. We wanted Byron Jones. We didn't want Gregory at 27, and we got him at 60. We're the champions of the world. And now look, at 91 we're going to get Carl Davis, a defensive tackle that's a road grader, and Baltimore took him at 90.
Yeah.
And I think it stunned them. And so, all right, what do? What's our process? Our process is we go with our board. Okay, well, Chaz Green's on our board. Seems a little early, but they were able to say, and it was early with Travis Frederick, you know, and that's working out perfect. Yeah. So choose your guy. That's what I think happened.
Right.
But I'm good with it. I mean, you're an offensive line team. That's what this is.
For the draft, depth purposes only, and
Absolutely.
Plus the fact that he's versatile.
Yes.
Guard, tackle. So, Matt, your thoughts?
Exactly, Drew. I mean, he played both left tackle and right tackle at in college, and I like that he could be that swing tackle, that replacement for Jeremy Parnell. I also like the fact that one of the knocks on the kid is he's had some injury issues, right? 11, 12, 13, he torn labrum, but he came back in 2014 and played every game in 2014 and won the Chris Patrick Courage Award.
Nice.
So it's not like he's injury and he fought back. He fought back from the injury and won an award for it, and actually was named captain of his team. As well.
That sounds like one of Garrett's guys.
Right kind of guy.
A Garrett.
Exactly. Exactly.
What do you think, Larry? That pick?
Well, I like what Matt said about him fighting back. I think that speaks a lot to about a guy's character.
Right.
From what I've read, I think the majority of the guys drafted had a visit here with the Cowboys, and somebody must have seen something in him that they like.
Absolutely.
You draft, and as an NFL team, you draft a good, healthy balance of potential and production, college production, and then you try to develop a guy into being the type of player that you want to have on your football team. And I think that might have been the reason for this pick.
Yeah, I think it was a good pick at this slot. Everybody's talking defense, and they went defense right after that. So I think it was a good pick to help shore up that offensive line and give them some depth there, and they don't have to worry about that. Now let's go to the next pick, fourth round. Cowboys pick Damian Wilson, 127th pick in the draft. He's projected as an inside linebacker. What do you guys think about him? You know anything about him, Matt?
I do. I actually really like this pick. I like it a lot. He's a run and chase linebacker, right? So he's a side to side guy. He's an Anthony Hitchens-like type player, and I think you need that type of player in that linebacker core. I think they're lacking that. I mean, Sean Lee is the prototypical run and chase guy, right? So they absolutely. We all know Sean Lee's struggled a little bit with the injuries, but I think he could come in and potentially be a Sean Lee.
And he's been through some things, Drew. He wanted to go to college. He ended up at junior college. He wanted to go a couple of different places, and Minnesota's where he ended up. So he's already been through a few things. It hasn't all been handed to him. It hasn't been a step-by-step process, and versatility is also part of his deal too.
Right.
He tells them, I can play any of these three linebacker positions. Whatever you want me to do, Coach, I'm in. And as you said, he's all over the field. He's side to side. The play's never over until the damn play's over. So I like this guy a lot. He's, again, another right type of guy.
And, he might be valuable as a special teams player as well. Right, Larry?
I definitely think he'll be utilizing the special teams quite a bit until he cuts his teeth, until he kind of grows up as a player and learns the system. I agree with Matt in that he's a sideline linebacker, and he fits very well inside of the Marinelli scheme. They wanted Sean Lee to do a lot of that. Unfortunately, he stayed injured a lot of the last couple of years.
Right.
And I think he's this guy here, Damian Wilson, will be groomed to play that position when Lee doesn't.
Not bad for a fourth-round pick, I think.
not
there.
bad at all.
Then they go to the fifth round. They get Ryan Russell, local guy, Carlton, Creekwood High School, and defensive end. Thoughts on that pick? Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. He's prototypical defensive end. He's got size, above average speed. His knock is that sometimes he struggles to fight off the blocks. So he's kind of one of those. He's really, if you're going to get after the quarterback, that's what he does, and he does it really well. He had 10 sacks in college as well. So he can get there to that quarterback. I like him. He's got quick feet too.
He started in a 4-3.
Right.
Then they moved into a 3-4, and all of a sudden he's occupying two guys. Not his thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the whole he can't get off a block thing.
Right,
It was tough for him. It was not what he's used to. He's a motor guy, get me up the field guy. And for a year he went to just hold the fort, hold the fort. Marcus Spears went through some of this. He was a get up the field guy, and all of a sudden it was you got these two gaps and these two guys, and it didn't fit this kid. And I think in this system, there's some knocks on this kid, but Leon Lett, and it's been typical of this Cowboys and the way they're doing things. Colombo got with one of the offensive linemen, got with some of the defensive linemen, and Leon Lett came out of this convinced that this guy, both mentally and physically, is their guy.
Right on. And to get him in the fifth round, that's a coup for the Cowboys, huh, Jim?
Yeah, great fit. I think, once again, more depth on that defensive line. He definitely brings, like Matt said, a motor to get after the quarterback. I think you may see him. I think he may end up being seen mostly as a third down type lineman coming out.
Yeah, rotation guy.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Which Marinelli loves.
That.
Right.
Yeah, he loves
the
guys.
more the better. His rushman.
Third and long.
Look what he's done with guys that don't have these kind of credentials coming in. The guys he's bringing in off the streets, so to speak, and turning them into quality football players.
Hey, Drew,
and then they go on to play somewhere else and get the big check.
I do think that this was the second time the Cowboys got caught off guard. They're not unhappy with Ryan Russell, but this is where they were going to choose Jay Ajayi, the running back from Boise.
Oh, okay,
and all of us were sitting there in this third round going, maybe, no. And then in the fourth round, maybe, because we do need a running back, oh, no.
That's a good
And he kept sliding and sliding. And then the fifth round, I think the room said, listen, if he gets to us here, we cannot pass him. And literally the pick or two before, Ajayi went off the board. So they were a little bit broadsided again, but you had Leon standing in the back of the room going, I got your guy.
I got your
guy.
Yeah.
So,
he's campaigning hard.
Yep.
So they missed the sixth round, idle, and then they go in the seventh round with 3 picks. And they come away with a linebacker and then 2 offensive guys, an offensive tackle and a tight end. The 236th pick was Mark Nnaochi.
Nzacha?
I'm way off.
I'm not sure I'm right.
Well, we'll go with it. That sounds better than mine. Anyway. But he's an outside linebacker and another one to add depth to that position and probably be more valuable starting off as a special teams guy.
You start.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, a lot of people think that he was the best defensive player at Wyoming. Now I realize it's Wyoming, but still, he had a great career at college. He's very athletic. Now he is good in the traffic. He is he can shuck that blocker.
And he'll be a good special teams guy right away.
Exactly.
Good speed, great tackler.
Yes,
exactly. Great tackler.
And to me, he's the textbook of project. I mean, he's only had 4 years of football period. 4 years of football. So he is textbook project. Bring him in here, low risk, high reward. I like the pick. I like it.
Yeah, he's a German guy. I mean, they don't even play football in Germany hardly. So, and there are sometimes when you watch him on film and you're like, did he get the right play call? Because he's going backwards when he's supposed to be going forwards. He's going east when he should be going west.
He went out in coverage
and then on the other hand,
language barriers.
On the other hand,
problems
somebody's
there.
running loose in the middle, and he breaks coverage and goes and catches him, and he wraps up and tackles like a demon. So I think they think, call us in 2.5 or 3 years and tell us what you think of this guy.
Great
Right.
special teams.
Yeah,
for
no
them.
doubt.
That's what I see.
Yeah.
So after that, they go 243, then right back at 246, and they go offense. They get a Lawrence Gibson offensive tackle, 6'6", 315, and then they get a tight end, Jeff Swain, and more
kid.
regarded as a blocking tight end, and I think that's something that they need. What do you think of those two picks? Start off with you, Larry.
Well, that's been a position that's been in question. I find it interesting that the entire draft on the offensive side of the ball was devoted to everything up toward the offensive line. So I'm assuming that this player Jeff Smith is a great blocker, and probably not so much as a great receiver.
Yeah.
But he can kind of maybe even transition into tackle if they need him to do so with his size.
Yeah.
Right. And they got a little logjam there at tight end now with Hannah and Escobar, and of course the great Jason Witten. So, but none of them are Hannah or Escobar are regarded as great blockers. I mean, Witten had an excellent year this past season blocking.
Yep.
You know, everybody say he didn't catch as many balls as he normally does, but that's because they had him blocking more in that scheme, and they decided to run the ball a little more. But this guy Swain kind of fits in, but there's still going to be a log jam. I don't see them keeping 4 tight ends at that position.
And Swain fits in perfectly as, like you said, a blocking tight end. I mean, we know he played at Texas. Texas doesn't use the tight end in their offense.
Yeah.
So he's mainly a blocker.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's a good pick. I mean, he could play a little special teams too. But I think it's a good pick.
I think it is too.
They actually gave up a draft pick to get this guy, Drew. They didn't have this pick.
Yeah, they
Right.
think something of him.
They gave
think
up a
there's something
6th-round pick next year to get this guy.
Well, a lot of times, though, when you go to 7th round, it's a hit or miss type situation. But you know what? We as Cowboy fans have a little more confidence in these late-round picks because that Will McClay up there, he has been identifying
totally agree.
some talent
Yep.
and bringing it into the fold. And now Jerry's got somebody he trusts and is listening to. And they're making good selections with this pick because they're getting good information. So it's a good pick. So here's the grade overall. Cowboy grade for the whole draft. You heard we discussed all the draft picks.
B. It'll be years before we truly find out how
Exactly.
good this draft is, obviously.
It's always that way.
From what we see right now, from what I see right now, I'll give him a B.
Give him a B.
Great. You know, I give them an A. And I'm biased, obviously, because I love the Dallas Cowboys. But in all honesty, they did a great job. They got Byron Jones, a great cornerback, one that, frankly, is athletic. He's intelligent. Then they get, arguably, a top 10 pick in the 2nd round again in an area that they really needed help. They need to rush that quarterback. They need sacks. And they got it. They got that guy. So I just give him an A. And then, you know, the one kid, that offensive tackle, Lawrence Gibson, going back to him, he was a combine. He went crazy in the combine. He was 1st in the vertical, 1st in the broad jump, 5th in the shuttle, and 3rd in the 40-yard dash for O-lineman. And they got him in the 7th round.
Yeah, and they asked for, and he
What an
granted.
athlete.
They got a private pre-draft workout with him and Colombo, and same as Lett did with Russell. Colombo came back and said, we can really make something out of this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So exactly. So you get that type of a player in the 7th round. I love this draft.
Right on.
This is the most that I've trusted this organization, and you know what I mean by that, right? This is the most that I've trusted this organization in years. Will McClay is obviously a big part of it. Steven has a little bit of a rein on his dad, and they seem to be doing, for the most part, fiscally responsible things and driving an attitude now that says we genuinely plan on winning. We will hold people accountable for winning. It's not just talk. They're really trying to do it. So
Find the right guys to do that.
absolutely.
too.
I'll give the draft a B, but I'll tell you what, if the top 2 guys can play like we think they can play, then the draft is an A.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, what's your grade?
I kind of agree with what Brady said there at the end. I think if these top 2 guys turn into what we think they're going to be, I think the draft is an A.
Yeah.
Right now, just looking at it, I kind of drop it. I said A earlier. I drop it down overall to a B plus. the Chaz Green thing the third-round pick kind of throws me off a little bit. To be quite honest with you, I think Lawrence Gibson may turn out to be the better player.
Yeah.
He's got better footwork. He's more athletic.
I agree. Yeah.
But I mean, I like the fact that they took a couple of guys there because just get more depth on that offensive line.
Right.
Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And we've seen it. It's happened every year. It happened last year. Of course, Parnell stepped in. Of course, now he's in Miami. So we definitely need some depth there. So I like what they did overall. Well, I wanted to ask Larry a question, though. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the running game? I mean, as a former running back, I mean, okay, we lost DeMarco Murray. We lost the league's leading rusher. We went out and we signed.
McFadden.
We went out and signed Darren
Ryan
McFadden,
Williams
who I
this year.
love McFadden.
Yeah.
I love McFadden, and I am unbelievably excited to see what he can do behind a very, very good offensive line with a real quarterback that has real weapons that kind of spread the ball out where people can't just focus on him. I want to get your thoughts on that.
I think the comment by Jerry Jones that we can put anybody back there to run behind this line was somewhat of a slight at DeMarco Murray. I think it could have been taken that way. I don't think you discount his effort last year. Most notably, when he came back and played a couple of weeks after just having surgery on his hand. I mean, I think you got to give a guy credit for that. But getting back to your question, I think McFadden, if he plays like he played when he was at Arkansas and when he first came to the league, they have a great guy in that position if we can keep him healthy.
How realistic is that, Larry, 7 years into the league?
Quite realistic,
Is it?
depending on how you utilize a guy during the season. We mentioned it earlier about resting a guy, especially a running back who gets a little bit long in the tooth. You want to give him some days off in practice. And I think that basically helps you out a lot over the long term.
I know.
terms
Well,
of
when we come
production.
back, let's talk about your opinions on the Cowboys not drafting a running back. And then let's preview the upcoming season. All right?
Great.
We'll do that next, right here on Drew Pearson Live.